Hello and welcome to Rick's RC Flying Channel. This is episode 20 of the Sweet and Low build. Well, we're getting pretty close to wrapping this series up. The airplane is basically, she's more or less ready to go flying. The only thing I have to still do is a few little minor things like putting this LED light in an appropriate place. The engine has to be broken in and a weight and balance has to be done. But aside from those two items, basically, she's ready to fly. And this video is going to just do one last little walkthrough on some of the final processes that were done to wrap things up, and have a little closer look at the cockpit. There will be a video coming out on how the cockpit was fabricated, and that's where we're at. So let's have a look. So we'll start off at the tail. All the final adjustments have been made. Everything's fine-tuned in relation to with the servos, so we're good to go. As I talked about in one of the earlier videos, I was debating whether to paint this push rod, which I did. Anyways, there's an inspection panel there. In the servo mount area, here we have a satellite receiver, and these are just the aileron, port, and starboard connections. All the servos, everything has been adjusted. Everything is permanently secured. That's a receiver switch. This is a Y harness, which is part of the throttle system because of a glow driver, and that's just a power lead from the receiver battery. Up in the forward compartment, we have a 3000 milliamp receiver battery, and in here is the, of course, the throttle, and this is the glow driver, which is a McDaniel RC system. This here happens to be a reversing switch, very similar to as you would reverse a servo. There have times I've had to use it, so it's very convenient. This here is where you set when the glow driver is activated with respect to your throttle position. And then basically it's just like a little screw in there, put a screwdriver in, and you simply make the adjustment. The glow driver has a built-in 5000 milliamp battery, and it's rechargeable. It comes with a little receptacle here. Normally I mount these somewhere, but in this particular case it was just as convenient just to leave it here when it's time to recharge. Depending how you set it, it lasts quite a long time. So that's the setup there. Firewall forward. Basically, this is a muffler pressurized fuel system, so that connection is all complete. This is part of the glow driver system. It's basically like a grounding wire. Of course, your throttle linkage, which worked out really well, super smooth and quiet. So I'm going to turn the airplane over and we're going to take a look at the top side. So I ended up working on the cockpit. And since the airplane is based on a modern home build, but looks like an Endecker in some ways. And anyways, it has a more modern instrument panel, which of today's aircraft you'll see more often than not. And there's a throttle quadrant and the seat. And this here is part of going to be for the shoulder harness. So here's just another view of the cockpit, just a slightly different angle. And yeah, that map box, the color chart is a real VFR aeronautical chart, and the black and white one is actually a copy of a German World War I map that was used on a mission. I just put it in there for the heck of it. Anyways, that's just another view of it. So we're going to talk a little bit about a few things regarding still the engine installation. Of course, this is the cap, connects to your glow plug and provides the power to create a hot plug. And that's, of course, again, it's done through the glow driver system. And the way you initially set it up, as I pointed out earlier, just put a little screwdriver in there and you turn it, and basically you watch this LED light. And anytime the glow plug is hot, this light will light up, and then you set it to wherever you want. Now, the minimum setting that you put from a practical standpoint is from flight idle to the first 25% of throttle movement. Of course, that is to facilitate starting the engine, because normally you crack the throttle a bit when you go ahead to start it. So it's very convenient from that aspect. Now you can set uh, the glow driver to any point. I mean, if you want the glow plug to be on all the time, right to full throttle, you can set it. And it's a personal choice. Whatever you're comfortable with, or how you fly your airplane, is how you set it up. Now, for me personally, I use the 40% mark, because I fly the airplane normally at 50% or more power. And then when I enter the pattern to come in for a landing and I turn base leg, I start throttling it back. When my throttle reaches the 40% mark, the glow plug is hot. And then, of course, by the time I turn final, I keep pulling the throttle back and the glow plug is hot. What I like about it is anytime I add power to it, I get a very smooth engine transition. It accelerates very smoothly because the glow plug is hot. You don't get any fouling or anything like that. And of course, I've flown airplanes, plenty of them, without a glow driver system, and they work just fine. There's, nothing wrong with that. We've been doing that forever. However, with the glow driver system, I definitely noticed the difference. And the other thing is too, is, when you're all the way back to flight idle and all of a sudden you decide to do a go around and you ram that throttle up, you don't get any coughing, sputtering, or anything like that. You get a really smooth, reliable engine transition as the engine accelerates. So I really like that. Even during maneuvers, when you're coming out the backside of a loop and you're coming down and you're throttled all the way back, the glow driver is activated. And then as you come out of it, again, you get that nice smooth transition. So I really like the glow driver for that. All my big glow airplanes utilize the glow driver. And it's just a personal preference. The other thing the airplane has is a fueling valve. Now this fueling valve is made by Dubro, and it's for a glow engine. And what I like about it is very convenient. You can plumb your fuel system for a glow driver many different ways with regards to fueling. You can separate the fuel line and pump the fuel directly to your tank. You can pinch the line, you name it, seen it and done it. However, this is very convenient, it's very slick. You end up getting a fuel nozzle, which is part of your refueling system, whether it's an electric pump or hand crank, whatever you use. And what happens is it goes to the back here. So to the back, right there, there's a nozzle. And you take this and you put it in there, give it a slight turn, and it locks into position. You can let go of it now. And what that does is the fuel, as you're refueling, comes in, travels here, and this goes to the tank. And there's a valve in here. And as you begin refueling, the valve repositions and prevents fuel from going to the carburetor and flooding the engine. The minute you stop refueling and you disconnect your fuel nozzle, the valve repositions, and now the fuel from the tank travels up into here, out this one, and right to the carburetor. So it's very slick. I use it in all my glow airplanes, except the real small ones because they're vintage. But that being said, all my big glow airplanes have that, and it's I think it's a really slick system, and it's easy to install, and you can put it anywhere you want. I put it back here because it's just convenient to come from behind and refuel it. This green tape is here only because I still have to splice in here a fuel filter. And of course, typically this setup, because I'm using muffler pressure to pressurize the tank, once the tank is full, the fuel just drips out the bottom of your exhaust. And but there's never a risk of flooding the engine, so it's really a good system. And the other thing I like about Moki engines, which for those that remember the big Super Tiger engines, 2500, the 3000s, they had the radial mounts. I really like radial mounts because it distributes the stress and load to the firewall uh, in a very even, radial fashion. I really like that. And and as a result of that, well, years ago, I mean decades ago, I built a Nixeroli Stearman. And it was a scale airplane. I spent about 2,000 hours building it. Took a few years. And now, to pick that as a subject for a scale airplane, that was very convenient for me because I owned a real Stearman, which I had restored. So I knew the airplane intricately, and plus it was in my hangar. So anytime I needed a reference, I had the real thing. So, anyways, I built this scale airplane, and it was designed to have a Moki in it, a Moki 180. And what had happened was I was taking it to various shows. The airplane became a bit popular. And, anyways, that being said, uh, I ended up selling the airplane, which I regret today. But it was one of those cases I couldn't refuse. I sold the airplane. So I never got around to doing what I really wanted to do with the Stearman because it was designed for two engines. I machined this mounting system, which accepts the bolt pattern of the Moki. So it just take this off, 3 bolts, goes right on the firewall. So you would say, well, what is it for? Well, the Stearman was designed to take a 9-cylinder Technopower, which I bought back in the 1980s. It's a glow engine. Yep, it's got 9 glow plugs. And it has a glow driver system. Actually, it was made by the same company that makes this glow driver system. They made this 9-cylinder glow driver for it. And yeah, it was designed to go on there. Now, because this accepts the Moki mount, I'm just toying with the idea. The only thing is it's a rare engine. I wouldn't be able to get parts for it. But I have been toying with the idea because I've never had it on an airplane. It's been on a test bed and run. One thing about these Technopowers, because you got to think about when this was designed and built decades ago, and it does not put out the kind of power that today's radial engines, like the Moki 250s today or the Valach radials, um, there are a lot of today radials out there that put out far more power than this. Of course, they're gassers. Um, but back in its time, I mean, this was cutting edge. And so I've been toying with the idea maybe I got a lot of projects coming up this year. I don't know if I'll have time. And plus, with the glow driver system, and I moved a number of times, I'm missing parts to it. Um, and you definitely want a glow driver for this. It's kind of a slick one. It has like an LED readout to tell you if a glow plug is not working, which is important. And so I would have to actually check still. I wanted to make an exhaust ring for it as well. Never got around to it um, because it'd make quite a mess on the airplane. And not that that's the end of the world. I mean, just clean the airplane. But it would be nice to have an exhaust ring and just exhausting out the bottom. But anyways, I just thought I would share that with you because it's a real beauty. And here's the harness that goes on each little glow plug. And when it's all rigged up, it looks really, really great. And I'll just show you. I'll just turn my receiver on. Now you can see that the LED light has lit up because my throttle is at idle. As I push the throttle up, see the light goes out. And now I'm at the 40% mark on my throttle position, which is what I have set it to. You can set it whatever you want. Now, 50% or more, I can put it anywhere I want. It's not, glow plug's not hot. However, though, when I pull it back and I hit the 40% mark, it comes back on. Anything below 40 and lower, that glow plug is hot. So it's kind of slick. And the other thing it does is when you have a glow drivers, you'll end up with a lower idle, which is kind of a nice little feature too. Anyways, I just thought I'd share that part all with you. And the airplane just needs, I just need to break in the engine. And once that's done, we're basically good to go. The cowling, I may put some baffling in. Now, the airplane inherently is tail heavy because of the way it is designed from a construction point. I mean, in today's world, you could do a lot of things to make the tail section a lot lighter. I just went with the traditional design by Midwest. Everything is basically solid wood back there. So the airplane is a little bit heavier. However, the tail and rudder and everything is built up, but it's got a long moment arm, the airplane. So that being said, I do have a weight and balance system that I commonly use for engine installations. It's very convenient, easy to install, easy to remove, and you can easily change it, and you're not gluing or bolting anything onto the firewall or sticking it on or whatever. um, I have a video just on that. I'll put that a link in the description for those that want to see how the weight and balance system uh, is incorporated. And it's designed actually to fit in this. I have different designs for different shaped cowlings. And it also acts as partially as baffling to control the airflow. And I just have to see inside in order to put the cowling on. Oh, here we go. There, that's it. It's actually a really nice fit, very easy to do. Really, once you just have to be able to see a little bit where the air exhaust is there. And then it just has little bolts that go around, and it's very secure, very strong cowling. Anyways, that's its basic setup there. So I hope you get through the series, the build series. Maybe you picked up a pointer or two. I mean, I'm always learning something. I got some really good comments and picked up a few things as well. And I really like to thank all my subscribers and viewers who have been following the build series. 2025 is definitely going to be bringing on some rather new projects, kind of exciting for me. One of them is very different, actually, two of them. And, anyways, that being said, if you have any questions or comments, I really appreciate it. And, if you like the video, please select like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.